Today we are making Spaetzle, and in the words of Chef Tell, the Chinese invented pasta, the Italians stole it, and the Germans perfected it. And I believe that. It's super simple. You can use it for a variety of things. Today I am going to be adding this particular batch of Spaetzle to soup. I don't know if I'm saying Spaetzle right. It's how I grew up saying it. My mom is from Germany. My father is fully German. So maybe it's close. We'll see. Anyway, so I have 3 whole eggs, large eggs. I have 1 cup of flour now and some salt. And so from my experience, you need about 1/3 cup of flour to every 1 large egg. That will get you approximately there. Because remember, every egg is different. Every egg is special, just like you. So I'm going to add a big old pinch of salt. I'm going to whisk, break down the membrane of the egg. And then I'm going to just add a little bit at a time. So I'm going to add a little bit and mix it in. So when I do this on holidays, I serve this with rouladen and gravy. And so it's like the perfect side dish for that. I also find when I do soups that rather than using regular old dry noodles, I will use Spaetzle because they seem to hold up in a hot liquid better and don't break down as easily. And I think the taste and texture is the best, but that's my own personal opinion. So you see it's starting to get a little thicker by adding some flour, and you see that it is not sticking to my whisk. And that's important because we are adding enough flour that it will stick to the whisk and just kind of fall off. See, it's still falling through. Excuse me. You want it, so this is almost like pâte à jus dough, maybe a little thin for that. You want it thicker than that, if you know what I'm talking about. And you want to make, and I add it a little bit at a time because I don't want to get lumps. So I'm making sure I get around the edges of the bowl. Ooh, getting there. That's a little thin. It's still dropping off. So a little bit more. And you can see that I have a little bit left, not a lot. Sometimes it takes all of it. Sometimes it's perfect. Sometimes it's a little more. It really depends on the egg. This looks pretty good. It's not dropping off. It's sticking inside. And so now we are ready. I'm just gonna make sure all the flour is incorporated. So I have a pot of water that is already boiling, and I will meet you at the range. So we are here at the range, and I have my water that is just boiling, and that's a good place. You don't want too much because you're gonna be working over top of it. I'm going to salt my water, just like you would any pasta. I have my Spaetzle in a bowl, and I have a, and I'm probably going to say this wrong too. You don't need this, but this is traditional. This is called, and I think that's the price, I could be wrong, a Frühstück board. And so a lot of times in Germany, they will use this even to like eat a sandwich off of, or like a little cutting board, or whatever they need. So I'm going to take a little bit and I'm going to put it on my Frühstück board. If I'm saying that correct, which is right there now. And so I have a butter knife that has a flat edge that is flat edge on the back, which is important. And so I'm going to turn my water up just slightly. And so all I'm going to do is scrape this off into the water. And now when it hits the water, it's going to double in size. And then after I do a little bit, I am going to get it out of the water. And I have a couple different things I could use. You could use a slotted spoon. I have a this kind of a spider. And then I have the more traditional spider to get things out. Any of these will work just fine. And then I have a bowl off to the side that I'm going to take them out periodically and cover them with a towel so they don't dry out. So I'm going to dip, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dip my knife, and you can see I already touched it, scrape it on the side. I'm going to dip my knife in the hot water. I'm just going to take a little bit, about that much, and I'm going to scrape into the water. See how my knife is in the water? If you don't end in the water, it won't come off. And it's kind of like a little flick of the wrist. Now there are presses that you can buy that will press the Spaetzle out, but from what my father tells me, that is a no-no from my grandmother. So this is how we do it. And I'm just going to scrape them in and let them float back to the surface. I will say, in a restaurant setting, I push it through a half hotel pan that has really large holes, and I'll just use a rubber spatula to push it through. And I need to turn my water up a little bit higher. And then I'm going to let these float. Now, some people say that when they float, they're done. I'm not a believer in that. I think they need to simmer for about a minute. Excuse me. I have had instances where they float and you pull them out and there's still a little bit of dough in the center, and that is not good. So I'm just going to do a little bit at a time. Normally I would do a little more, but just for the sake of me filming. And then all I'm going to do is wait. And I probably could go a little smaller, but because they're going to go in soup, they can be a little bigger. And that's it. So I'm going to do some more, and I'll see you in a little bit. So here they are, and I'm not done yet, but if you wanted to check the seasoning, mine are pretty good. But if yours needed more salt, it's too late to add the salt to the dough. But you can add salt to the water. So by adding salt to the water, will give your Spaetzle more salt at the end. So that's pretty much it. I guess this was just a short and sweet one, but this is definitely one of my favorite things on earth. See you in class.